As a contestant on 2 seasons of Survivor, Bobby Jon Drinkard has been on adventures that have led him to the small island country of Palau, Guatemala, and back to his home state of Alabama. He hosted the long-running TV series On the Job, which showcased various career paths to Alabamans on the job hunt, and now works for AIDT, preparing Alabama's future workforce. He also serves as the board chair of the Alabama CTE Leadership Council. Let's give a warm welcome to Bobby Jon Drinkard.
Good afternoon, everybody. How we doing today? Good. Everybody have a good lunch? Good. All right. Well, it looks like we have an enthusiastic crowd, and that's a good thing because we're going to talk about a few things today. But first things first, everybody, I want you guys right now, your parents, your advisors, and all of the staff here at Tri Leadership and with the Department of Education. Let's give them a big round of applause, everybody, for putting on this wonderful conference. Have we had a good time today? Nice. Yes, we have had a good time, and we're going to continue to have a good time. I guess about 22 years ago, everybody, I sat in the same position that you're in right now as a member of the FFA at Charles Henderson High School in Troy, Alabama. Where's Charles Henderson High School? Are we out here? There somebody is. All right, there we go. All right. CTSO's played a very, very large part in my career pathway to where I am today. Ultimately, it also paved the way for me to do a lot of different things that I never thought I'd have the opportunity to do, such as being on Survivor, okay? And about 13 years ago, my life changed, and it changed forever when I got to be on this little experience called Survivor. Outwit, outlast, outplay. That's the theme of Survivor. And the theme of your JLDC conference this year, everybody, is out-earn, out-learn, out-lead. There's a lot of similarities there. But I think the biggest thing, everybody, that we're kind of looking at right now is, you know, you see the key word that's popped up on the screen a lot, guys. You know, you see the word thrive, all right? And if you look it up in the dictionary, thrive, all right, that means to prosper and flourish and to grow and develop vigorously. Vigorously. Because, see, I'm going to share something with you guys. Every single one of us in this room, under this roof, we're all survivors of something. And if you're not a survivor of something, I'm here to promise you that you will be a survivor of something, okay, everybody? You will be a survivor of something if you're not a survivor right now. Your time's coming, and it's going to happen. Because, you know, 13 years ago, when I landed on the islands of Palau to go through this experience, you know, of a lifetime, to where I go and I try to live with these people that I don't know, and they don't know me, and we have to, you know, thrive together and function together and live together. Well, it sounded really good on paper, and it looked really good through the casting process, but then when I got selected on the show and got put out there on that island, everybody, it was a little bit more than I could really basically swallow, all right? Because no water, no food. You're going like days at a time with no water, no food, and you have to figure all this stuff out. And all these people that I'm working with on this tribe, all right, on this show, Survivor, I'm having to figure everything out. And I'll be honest with you guys, like day number 5 into the experience, I mean, I was wanting to tap out. It wasn't for me. I'd reached a point of despair. And there's some of you right now who have probably faced some similar obstacles. You know, you're going through this pathway, and it's all set up. It's ready to go. Everything looks great, but you just can't connect the dots. And we start coming desperate. And we start looking for options. And I'm here to tell you right now today, everybody, that while challenges are hard, it's tough, all right? Sometimes challenges, they're not any fun. They hurt, just like being on Survivor, going through 5-6 days that first time I was out there with no amenities whatsoever. And that hill was going up. But folks, every single step I took up that hill, the results were positive. And while your challenges may bring you pain, they may bring you despair, I'm here to tell you right now that pain and despair is temporary, everybody. Because as long as you're thriving, as long as you're continuing to develop vigorously, all right, you're going to push through. And that was one thing about me, guys, that, I was raised by farmers in South Alabama. Pecans, peanuts, horses, cows, hey, you name it, all right? And that was my deal. We didn't come from a ton of money. I wasn't the valedictorian at school, all right? I wasn't the person that was, most likely to succeed or anything like that. But one thing I could do, everybody, is I could thrive, all right? And I didn't realize that I was able to do that until I got put in that situation on Survivor where I was forced to make a choice of despair or a choice to thrive. I made the choice to thrive, and I'm encouraging and challenging everybody in this room right now to make that choice too. Because everybody's got it in them. Regardless of race, regardless of economic background, regardless of demographic, you can line every single one of us up in a line right now. And if you cut us, we're going to bleed one color, everybody. Okay? Right now, you can line all of us up and we all start crying. It's going to be one color. You hear me? Folks, it's not your exterior, it's your interior that counts, all right? That's what's going to make you thrive. That's what's going to push you forward. Because I can promise you this right now. You're going to have problems, all right? You're going to have them. There is no way around. I will promise you, you're going to have them today. And I can promise you that you're going to have some choices to make too. Are we going to choose despair or are we going to choose to thrive? I encourage you to choose to thrive. Part of choosing to thrive, guys, is setting the right goals. The thing about it is a lot of times we get the wrong results because, well, we set the wrong goals. I'm here to tell you right now, when it comes to developing who you are, your career pathway, your identity, what you're going to be interested in that goal. Folks, if you don't like getting up early, you don't need to be a doctor. If you don't like getting your hands dirty, you probably don't need to be a mechanic. If you don't like working with math, then don't be an accountant. But you're good at something. Every single person in this room is good at something. So find that goal, find that interest. And once you find your interest, everybody, you're going to start defining your abilities, your skill set, and most of all, your purpose. See, that was the thing, is when I was out there on day 4, 5, 6, whatever it was on Survivor, and I thought about, gosh, I'm going to have to quit. This is not for me. Something happened to me out there, everybody, and it just clicked, and I chose to thrive. I didn't choose despair. And when I started thriving, guys, I started building relationships with people, all right? I started, helping my tribe, gathering food, gathering wood, doing all these different things to engage in what was going on in front of me. And I set my goal every single day that regardless of the circumstances, I was going to give 100%. That was my goal. While it was a small goal, it had big results. Set the right goals, everybody. You're going to get the right results. You set the right goals, you get the right results. I can promise you, you're going to have your purpose. Because a lot of times when we get burnt out, everybody, it's not because we're bored or things aren't working out or whatever. It's because we don't have a purpose. Make sure your purpose and your goals are lined up, but make sure your interests are there and your interests start with your heart, okay, everybody? Attitude is something else that's really big, that's really key in a survivor setting, all right? Everybody say attitude is altitude. Okay, sound like we're at a golf tournament. One more time. There you go. You'll notice I'm one of those 2-time guys. I like to hear it 2 times, all right? Attitude is altitude. As soon as your feet hit the ground every day, everybody, you automatically make a decision right then what your day is going to be like, all right? Is it going to be like the sun and light up the room, or is it going to be like a skunk and smell up the room? It's going to be one or the other, I can promise you that. But you immediately decide what it's going to be, all right? The great Winston Churchill once said, guys, that, an attitude is a small thing that makes a big, big difference. And it's true, And failure is not fatal, guys, but failure to change can be, and that starts with your attitude. An attitude is like a disease, but it's infectious. It's positive, you know? And that's the thing about it. While a bad attitude is a disease, a good attitude is that remedy that takes care of that disease. Because, folks, let me tell you something. Leadership is not a position. Leadership is a process. Leadership is not a position. Leadership is a process. And people really, truly believe that the better they can strengthen their leadership skills and make themselves better, it's going to really lead the group. That's not true. You make those around you better, you're going to become a better leader. That's how it starts. Jalen Hurts, everybody, where we're at. Is that a great story or what? You talk about picture perfect of a team player, and his story is being told, and God only knows what it's going to be. But that's the thing. He's making those around him better, y'all. And he's getting better, okay? That's everybody sitting in this room, too. Work ethic, something else that's really huge in a Survivor setting, especially being on Survivor. I mean, a lot of people believe that, you know, that if you set the right goals, you have the right attitude, well, everything's going to fall in place. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not true. All right? I'm here to tell you that's not true. You know, in Survivor, the game, yeah, there's a lot of, you know, twists and turns, but if you're not a hard worker, you won't last out there. Remember that little choice I had a little while ago, despair or thrive, and I chose to thrive, and that was the avenue I went down. You know, and a lot of people really believe that, you know, a work ethic is how great you are at a certain skill set or how much you can do or how many, you know, tasks you can juggle at one time, that sort of thing. That's not it. Folks, a work ethic is when 10 years from now, you're at home with your significant other. Your kids have the flu. Your wife or husband has the flu. But you get up and go to work anyway because you got people depending on you. That's a work ethic, everybody. Okay? That's where it's at. And that's what you have to have, because when you're building your work ethic, everybody, when you're developing how that work ethic's going to be, you know, you're not only building yourself a career, guys, but you're building character. And I can tell you right now, I work with companies all over the state of Alabama with AIDT, helping them determine their hiring and training needs all day long, every day, all right? And most, actually at 99.9, let's just go ahead and round it to 100% of companies, guys, they don't care how many degrees you have. All right? They don't care if you are the captain of the football team or the cheerleading team. All right? They don't care anything that you can so-called bring to the table except one thing. And that's a work ethic. That's what they want to see. Accountability, dependability, attitude, work ethic. That's what they want to see. And that's what you got to deliver. You don't have to be the best at everything, but you need to be the best at some things, everybody. And one of those is definitely a work ethic, all right? Last but not least, guys, I mean, you got to believe in what you're doing. You got to believe in what you're doing. Believing is achieving. As I said earlier, everybody in this room right now has a different skill set, a unique gift they bring to the table. If you all had the same gifts, well, then guess what? We'd all have the same fingerprints. We don't. We all have different fingerprints. We all have different gifts. And you have yours too. And some of you have already, you know, popped the lid on some of those gifts, and some of you haven't, and that's a good thing. Because your potential and your story is yet to be told. But I encourage you and challenge you to start telling that story today, all right? And believe in yourself. Believing is achieving, everybody. You've got to believe in what you're doing. Out there on Survivor, I finally believed in what I was doing and who I was from Dirt Road, Alabama, that I could succeed and be successful on this show. And obviously I was, because I got asked back for a second season. And I was believing in who I was. You know, a lot of you some of you are from the Mobile, Alabama area, and some of you travel down there. And, you know, when you drive around I-10, the causeway, you know, you can look over in some of the industries and different things, and you see all these ships that are kind of in the port and in the dock and that sort of thing. And while those docks were built to keep the ships safe, Those ships weren't built to stay there. So I want to ask you right now, everybody, what were you built for? What were you built for? Every single day I wake up, I ask myself, what was I built for? And I'm going to expand on that, and I'm going to continue to do that as long as I can breathe. It'll never set your compass off, guys. You know, I had a real survivor moment and a believing moment this summer, June 29th, 2018. And I lost my dad to lung cancer, all right? He went 6 years strong. And some of you have been through some of those same things before. But I had a choice during that moment. I'm about to lose my best friend. I'm holding his hand, and he's about to go. I got a choice right then. Am I going to clam up and choose despair, or am I going to thrive? Folks, let me tell you something. That man took radiation and chemo for 6 years straight and never missed a day of work, everybody. You hear me? Never missed a day of work. You know why? Because about what I said a little while ago, you know, 10 years down the road, your wife, your kids, everybody gets the flu, and you got the flu too, you got to go to work anyway. Guess what? He led a team of 20 men and women. He wasn't going to let them down. And he knew to be an effective leader was not about him, but it was making those better around him. Never missed a day of work, y'all. Six. Never missed a day of work. His last words, I'm going to leave you with this. He couldn't talk, but he could see, he could write, he could hear. And it was right just a few blocks over here at UAB. But his last words on that notepad, what's next? He was still in the game, everybody. Still in the game. And you're in the game too. I'm going to ask you right now to ask yourself, what's next? What's next for my dad is he's with Jesus, and that's what's important. But what's next for you? Thank you very much, everybody. Had a great time. Have a good conference.
Let's hear it one more time for Bobby